we've arrived on a mission. We're about 5 minutes in. I'm already gacked, but we shall soldier on. So, the mission, scout out Dead Man's Track. There's a bunch of mine sites around it, old mine sites, and potentially some ruins and old buildings and stuff. We want to see how much old stuff we can find and document, and kind of check out some of these mines along the way. See what we can find. So we're off the beaten path. We are working our way up and around this mountain. I found an old dried out creek bed that looks like it's been old and dried out for a very long time. But my theory is, I know we're heading in the right direction, and it would make sense that you would have water flowing to the mine site, the New Chum mine site, and then out of it. So theoretically we're walking upstream with the hope that we will navigate around this hill and somewhat bump into the right area. Let's see how we go. It's a pretty nice sunny day. It's not particularly warm, about 20, 21, but I'm mindful of the sun and snakes. So I'm trying to make a reasonable amount of rustle walking through here. And if there are any, they kind of scamper off, or at least don't move any closer. Oh, I'll tell you, one of the worst things about being 6'5", when you're walking through somewhere like this, even if there's been other people, you always get spiders' webs in your face. So most people aren't this tall, so you end up copping it, and it's really annoying. But what do you do? Here we go. Now I don't think this is New Chum, but there's definite signs of a lot of earth being moved around. So we'll get up here and have a look. There's so many little mines and diggings and mullock heaps and holes and all sorts that are just not documented, because it started being dug in the 1800s, kind of the mid-1800s. They started finding gold. So this is a big mullock heap, a lot of bluestone in it, heaps and heaps of quartz, which, as you know, is a really good sign. So we'll get up here, have a good look. But I dare say this could easily be one of the areas that's not named or not recorded on one of the old leases that someone had. That was quite steep, to be fair. You probably can't really tell there, but it was really steep. Just up behind where we climbed up, we found our first big mine. It's probably really hard to see how deep that is on the camera. That's all being dug out by hand, and it's heaps of bluestone. It's a really big effort. They must have found something, because I can see down at least 5-6 meters, and then it will have a false bottom of just debris and crap. So I don't know how far it goes down beyond that, but that's a lot of work by hand. And that's not even one that's marked or mapped out anywhere. So you have no idea what you're going to find around here. But given that there's one really deep shaft there, we've come up there, there's no deep shafts. There's going to be some in the close proximity that they would have used as like siding shafts to see if it was worth digging a big hole. So we'll keep looking. So they'll often dig these holes in lines because you're looking to follow the reef. So you can see there, it's a really kind of shallow, small digging. And then over here looks to be one that is slightly bigger. But again, it's really hard to tell because they often have false bottoms. So you need to be really careful where you're walking out here. There we go. Another one here. They're just small, but over here I reckon there's heaps littering the area. They are. Looks to be, oh, prickles. It was prickles. We'll avoid the prickles. It looks to be some deeper ones over here. It's a decent one, just a little round hole. Interesting fact about the old little mine diggings, that they would use a pick to dig out. If they're round ones, they usually means that it was a Chinese miner, and if they're square ones, they tended to be the Americans. The reason being, with Chinese mythology and beliefs, evil things, evil spirits, demons hid in the corners. So hence the round diggings. So I'm standing on top of a reasonably decent molly keep at the moment. There has to be gold left. Has to be. They didn't have detectors. They were doing it all by eyesight. When they were digging out, they weren't looking for those really, really little alluvial bits. They're looking for nuggets. A good sized golden nugget. But they are heritage listed, so we don't touch them. All mullet keeps in Victoria, I believe, are heritage listed. Some wankers touch them, but they shouldn't. But I guarantee you there would have to be gold in a lot of those diggings. Another one there, they're just everywhere. We've just walked up on another area. It's another area that's been mined quite a lot. Again, it's hard to get a good gauge of it on the camera, but you are definitely not going to that much trouble unless you found good amounts of gold. That's really hard work. Let's keep wandering. There's lots of little diggings around Ash, so just watch your set. The prickles, man. I hate the prickles. Heaps of them, see? Endless. It would be amazing to have like a Google Maps view of this whole area before they started digging it, just to see, because I reckon it has so significantly changed the landscape of this whole place. But unfortunately, we don't. Yet. Time travel, man. Time travel. As if Elon Musk hasn't been around before. So here's another good little bit where they've kind of really dug in to the side of the hill. All right. By the way, when I was researching this place to really kind of map out where the old dead man's track would be, because there's no real kind of map of the trail. There's just key points and landmarks and locations along the way. So I've done it to the best that I think I can do. But I don't know what we're walking up on. So there's all these old mine shafts that I do know about in this walk. And there's kind of points of interest along the way, but I don't actually know what they are other than the name. So this is the old New Chum mine site. We have just stumbled across an existing little walkway. So we might see if there's a T intersection up here, because we've got to head that way. We'll find out in a tick. As suspected, there kind of is. Yep. I think. Nope, keep going. Every now and then you find like old tin, like little remnants of stuff. That's an old gutter. To be honest, it's probably just rubbish. I don't even reckon that's anything cool. Keep following that path, Ash. I'm just going off bush a little bit. Off bush, going into the bush. Another mullikeep. They are everywhere. Hey, a crimson rosella. Interesting fact about Ash. Weirdly detailed knowledge about birds. It's odd. Very odd. Come in handy if... We're not searching for holes in the ground, we're searching for undocumented history / gold or other cool stuff. If I find, when I find gold, I'm not sharing it. So annoying. On our left, we've got a really nice open grassy paddock, knoll. Nice open grassy knoll. And then down there, we've got a bush scrub that goes down into a gully. And the gullies is where we want to go, because the gullies is where they'd find gold. Because of water and things. Lizard. I am not going to tell Ash if I see lizards or a snake. Shit. Been going the wrong way. Ash, it's the wrong direction. Can we go? Let's go back to the car and we can drive to the first point, because the car's just there. Yeah. No, you can't swear on YouTube. I didn't mean to. Like, yep. Okay. It's so annoying. So what we'll do is we're going to drive to the next point and we'll go from there. Should be right. So it's just the warm-up, Ash. Yeah, just to get the lactic acid moving. It does. Don't argue. It does. Just accept what I say. Although I do think it's downhill, so that's a win. You're welcome. Yep, there's the main road. I can hear it. Whoops. Whoopsies. Tell you what though, it's bloody beautiful. Yep, I can see Steiglitz. But to be fair, the best adventures happen when you go the wrong way. People have always said that. Old ancient mythology, I think. Could have been Jesus, I'm not sure. Oh, beautiful. So, we'll have a drink, charge the batteries a little bit. Both our own metaphorical batteries, but also the physical lithium batteries in the camera. And then give another crack. To be fair, and I say this out of earshot of Ash, because she will argue it with me, it was worth it because we saw some old diggings there, some pretty big ones too, that were not mapped out anywhere that I could find on the internet anyway. So that's cool, something different. Now, beautiful. Yeah, wow. So you can see there, I think that's behind me, a combination of like an old river, an old creek bed, and digging. So I reckon they just dug the buggery out of it, of an existing creek that was already there, which would be kind of how they first started doing this stuff. So there's potential that it's like one of the early diggings, because it's quite large. Would have been a lot of people giving it a crack. So part of wanting to do this is, there's a few reasons actually. I love YouTube and I love watching people on YouTube doing little adventures and trying to get to things they've, found or heard of online or by word of mouth, and then going out there and trying to get them. So part of it is the adventure. I love the adventure of it. I'm still wearing the splint from the Bali saga, and I needed to move more. A lot of the things I like to do involve two hands, and they were the things that keep me active, so I needed to come up with something else. And at the moment, this works really well, because walking on its own, rubbish. But if I'm on an adventure and I can find something cool, then that kind of makes it all worth it. It makes it much easier actually to do the walking. You kind of forget that you're exercising and you're just looking out and trying to find cool stuff. And then, I guess building on from the first part around kind of watching lots of YouTube and content that people create, I thought maybe it's only fair to chuck some back. If I'm going to be doing this anyway, film it, chuck it up. And the other big reason I want to do this is to record just some random bits of history that I haven't been able to find much online. When I went to the old Findsford primary school, the abandoned building, couldn't find any documented videos about it. So I thought, why not? I want to go suss it out anyway. Film it, chuck a bit of history in there, and keeps the old heritage stuff alive. Because at some point, it all disappears. So there's so much cool stuff, even just around Geelong where we live. You don't have to go around the world. You don't have to go too far. You can just do it in a day. It's like that with most towns, I reckon. Oh, so, all good, Ash? It's good. You're looking good today. Love you. So this is the old bridge that went across the Steiglitz River. I don't know how old it is. And connected the Steiglitz township, which is here, to the other side of the river, where a lot of the big mines were, like the Albion mine. So we will have a good squiz at the Albion mine at some point. There's quite a lot of brick ruins from the old engine buildings and stuff, but we'll get to that. For now, recharge and regroup and find the right direction. We've just stumbled across the first post office in Steiglitz. Pretty amazing. So we've just stumbled across something that I didn't expect to find on this adventure. But I'm pretty sure that we've just found the old school building here in Steiglitz. So we'll do a quick lap around the school. I'm pretty certain we're not going to be able to get in, but you never know. I mean, it's in somewhat good condition. It'll be really interesting looking into this place. Such a beautiful area too. Now, the reason that I think it's the old school building is because it's at the end of a track called School Road. You have to be a genius, do you? Turns out I was right. That is the old school. Can't find heaps on it yet, but what I can see is I think it was further in towards the town centre of Steiglitz, and at some point was moved to where it sits now. I will do a bit more research, find out some more and put it in a future video, but for now, I could find this photo of some old students and some teachers. It's really cool. Old water tower behind me there. No way in. It's fully boarded up. However, if we did come with a screwdriver and a drill, we would not go in because that's trespassing. Well, all right. Well, that was a really cool little detour. You would absolutely not know that was there. Ash, saddle up! So we're back on the right path, on our way to hopefully find New Chum Mine. It's a bugger. It's so peaceful and quiet. Sound of a little bird. But yeah, I have no idea what if we're going to find anything. Well, what I can tell is from the township of Steiglitz to New Chum Mine was roughly the first part of Dead Man's Track. Now, Dead Man's Track was known to be quite a small, not a particularly safe track. Whoa! I did not expect that. It'd be really hard for you to tell how deep that is. It's dead square, and I reckon that's at least 7 meters, but then it's got all the crap in it, so it'd be deeper than that again. Most likely made by either an Aussie or an American mining group. Huh. There's some big black boys. How old would that be?
That's a big ass one over there.
That's massive. What's that, like 60 grand on a good day? There's hundreds. Well, don't say it when I'm filming, then they'll know. Yep. There's heaps of them. They mustn't, are they rare or are they just really slow growing? Whoa. Endless black boys. Just gonna do a quick map check. Make sure we are heading in the right direction this time, and we are. Happy with that. Happy with that. Look at them. Everywhere.
Dad used to have one.
Yeah. It's like a sea of black boys. She just said in a deep voice. Alright, so we're in the general vicinity of Old Chum Mine. Now I know at some point we've got to go off the track to the right. When I was trying to find this place, I could only find kind of approximate locations. There was no definitive GPS coordinates associated with it, but I figure we still better try. Coming up to the junction point where Dead Man's Track meets Hut Road, I think it is, or Hut Track. Hut Track. You would likely think there's going to be some form of even disused path to get us there. But so we've got some mullock heaps here that are 3 or 4 of them that seem to be in a line. So I'm going to follow. Pardon? Lieutenant Dan, she's in trouble. I'm going to follow this line of mullock heaps. Predominantly up in this area in Steiglitz, they were mining quartz veins and crushing them to find the gold within those quartz veins. That was in the kind of big mining operations. Hang on a minute. Originally, when they started mining this area, it was very much just finding alluvial gold. It would appear around here they were pulling out some quartz and crushing it, which means it was a bigger operation than just digging the smaller holes and finding alluvial stuff. If we go down here, we must be getting close. Yep. Okay. Now there is a fence, so I'm hoping that we're not blocked getting into the old Chum mine site by private property, but that may be what happens. We're just following a little game trail at the moment. Most likely wallabies or something, I'd say. Kind of crafted out this little spot for us to walk. Nah, that's good. Does not look like private property will be a problem. Now we should be coming up on it, hopefully. Big mushroom. That was a massive mushroom. Pardon? To find the old mine site. That's the whole point of this adventure. So we found some pretty big diggings. Found some old big diggings there. But I've just noticed this hill up here, which looks like a really big mullock heap that they've dug out of a mine. Like when they're digging out a really big mine, kind of pile it up on either side at times. And this is quite the ridge that looks like it could definitely be man-made. Nah, that's man-made for sure, Ash. We may be in the right area. Unusually large bones.
Could be anything. So it's kangaroos over here.
It's a dense kangaroo. Best way to avoid trouble is to just pretend you didn't see it and walk the other way. So that's what we're going to do. Oh yeah. Somewhere around here there is at least one big deep hole. Ah! You know what? There's more money worth of black boys here than there would be gold. Like hundreds. It would solve cost of living, Ash. Correct. But there's hundreds, if not thousands. I reckon we've seen thousands of black boys. It's amazing. I've never seen this many at once. So what you're seeing here is a woman who's 169 centimetres tall on a good day. And next to her is an example of one of these big plants that are littered everywhere. All right, so we're definitely on top of big old mining mullock heaps. Question is, can we find the holes all this dirt came out of? Because that would be really cool. I just can't use any of it. I swear like a trooper.
Pirate.
Yeah, swear like a pirate. Hey. So let's go this way. Oh. Wow, this whole area has just been butchered by mining. This is a really hard mining area to navigate because there doesn't seem to be any order to it.
No,
they've just dug heaps and hoped for the best by the looks of it. Good work, Ash. She's now censoring herself. I cannot work out, because normally they follow a direct line. Once they find a reef, they follow that line. But it keeps going. Has to have been, because this is really old diggings, mid to late 1800s, but zero electricity, obviously. So this is all done by picks and shovels. An insane amount of effort. Let's assume they started uphill a bit and then work our way back down. So that's a decent dig. Just avoid walking through the middle of any of them. False bottoms. Just say thank you for the advice. I am caring. See, there's another massive one here. Looks like it could have come from a really large digging. So we shall have a look. There's so much bluestone around. Hey, that's a good one. Straight down there, and you can see everything they've dug out is what we're standing on. Just hacked at it. I couldn't find any, other than a name and a rough location, I couldn't find any, no idea, no pictures. No, because I know people went, it's like a tunnel. This stuff would make really good bricks, this white clay. I've got a couple of options. One is we walk down and follow it. So I'm not super satisfied with what we found around the supposed New Chum mining area. So I'm going to come back on a dedicated day just to do that. There's so much going on down there in very minimal order. It was definitely not a super well organised mining group, but it's worth exploring because of the amount of action that was in that area. So we'll give another crack another day. Muffin's legs are getting tired, so we've got to crack on. You all right, mate? Yeah. Doing a great job, Ash. Wasn't a complete failure. There was a lot of action. Yeah. I think we need to come back on a day where we're just walking around that area. Yeah. Because I'm not satisfied with how much we looked around. There's definitely a heap more stuff there. We'll come back. We'll find the mine. Some gold. Probably.